Maya tossed her own phone onto the bed, her face hard with frustration. He's not just humiliating you, he's trying to erase your choice. He wants everyone to see you through his eyes, not yours. Elliot's voice was small. Then what do we do? I can't keep hiding. But I can't. I can't survive if he takes everything from me. Maya crouched in front of him, her expression fierce. Then we fight fire with fire. We show them the truth on our terms. We make your story louder than his lies. Elliot blinked. You mean, tell them myself? Maya nodded. Yes. You take control. If they're going to see you, let it be as the person you really are, not some photo he twists into a weapon. The thought terrified him. Standing in front of everyone, owning his secret? It felt like walking into fire. But Seraphine's words returned. Shadows lose power when you step into the light. Elliot tightened his grip on the pendant. Maybe it was time. Meanwhile, across town, Caraway was making his own preparations. He hunched over his desk, scrolling through his phone. The photos weren't enough. He needed something louder, something impossible to ignore. A cruel smile tugged at his lips as he printed dozens of copies of the blue dress photo, each one circled in red ink like evidence in a crime. By Monday, he muttered, this won't just be whispers in the hallway. It'll be plastered on every wall in Maplewood High. He tucked the stack of papers into a leather satchel, his eyes glinting with satisfaction. This wouldn't just embarrass Elliot. It would destroy him. Back in Maya's room, Elliot stared at his reflection in the mirror. Hoodie on, pendant hidden, face pale. Maya stood beside him. Tomorrow we start small. We find your allies. We tell the people who will actually listen. And when the time comes, we make your truth impossible to silence. Elliot nodded, his fear still clawing at him, but beneath it, something stronger was growing. Resolve. Neither of them knew that Caraway was already a step ahead. And his cruelest move yet was waiting just around the corner. Monday morning began like a nightmare. Elliot arrived at school early, hoping for a quiet start. But the moment he stepped inside, his stomach plummeted. The hallways were plastered with papers, dozens, maybe hundreds. Each one carried the same blurry photo, Elliot in the pale blue dress. Some were taped to lockers, others pinned to bulletin boards, a few even shoved under classroom doors. Red circles scrawled around his face like a target. Gasps, laughter, and whispers followed him down the hall. Is that really him? Elliot? In a dress. Wow! I mean, it kinda suits him. Every voice cut deep. His secret, torn from his hands, scattered like confetti for everyone to gawk at. By the time he reached his locker, his legs trembled. He wanted to hide, to curl into himself and vanish. But when he opened the door, a flyer fluttered out and landed at his feet. Someone had stuffed it inside. Behind him, Caraway leaned against the wall, arms crossed, smiling like a hunter. Well, Ashford, he drawled. Looks like your true self is on display. How does it feel? Elliot's throat burned with unshed tears. His classmates' stares pressed down on him, heavy as stones. This was it, the moment Caraway had been waiting for. Then, a hand touched his shoulder. Maya. Her voice rang out, clear and sharp. It feels like courage. Because at least he's not hiding who he is. The crowd stirred. Some students looked uncertain, others curious. One boy muttered, she's right. What's the big deal? A girl added, honestly, he looks happier in that photo than he ever does here. Caraway's smile faltered. The whispers weren't all cruel. Some carried something else, understanding. Elliot's hands shook as he clutched the silver pendant under his hoodie. He could crumble, let Caraway win, or he could step into the light once and for all. With trembling legs, he climbed onto the bench by the lockers. His voice cracked at first, but it grew louder with every word. Yes, that's me. And I'm not ashamed anymore. You can laugh, you can whisper, but this is who I am. And I won't let anyone take that from me. The hallway went silent. For a breathless moment, Elliot stood there, heart pounding, waiting for the ridicule to crash over him. But instead, a slow clap echoed through the hall. A girl from his math class, then a boy from science, then Maya, until the sound spread like ripples. Not everyone joined in, but enough did. Caraway's face twisted with fury. His trap hadn't destroyed Elliot, it had given him a stage. But as the applause faded, Caraway muttered under his breath, "You think this is over?" "I haven't even started." Elliot stepped down from the bench, his heart still hammering. The battle wasn't won, but for the first time, he felt something stronger than fear. He felt free. The rest of Monday unfolded like walking through fire. Some students clapped him on the back as he passed. "Respect, man. That took guts." "Or should I say, respect, girl?" one whispered, but it was said with a smile, not cruelty. Others weren't so kind. Elliot found new graffiti on his locker by lunchtime, "Freak" scrawled in black marker. A wad of paper hit his shoulder in the cafeteria. Whispers hissed behind him wherever he went. It wasn't all hate. But it wasn't all love, either. By the time the final bell rang, Elliot was exhausted. Still, a quiet sense of pride lingered beneath the bruises of the day. He had spoken his truth. And nothing Caraway could do would erase that. But Caraway wasn't finished. That night, he sat hunched at his desk, the black notebook open to a fresh page. The flyers had failed. Elliot had flipped the humiliation into strength. If Caraway wanted to destroy him, he'd have to go further, cut deeper. He tapped his pen against the page, then scrawled 2 chilling words. Parent meeting. The next morning, Elliot found himself called to the principal's office. Maya walked with him, refusing to let him face it alone. Principal Hargrove sat behind his desk, his expression heavy with concern. Beside him, Caraway smirked, arms folded. "Elliot," the principal began slowly, "your teacher has brought some concerns to my attention." Caraway slid a folder across the desk. Inside were the photos, the sketches, the flyers. "This behavior is inappropriate," he said smoothly. "It's a disruption to the school environment. And I think his parents deserve to know." Elliot's blood ran cold. His parents. The one place he wasn't ready to face. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Maya slammed her hand on the desk. "This isn't inappropriate, it's who he is. He's not hurting anyone. Caraway's the one making it a circus." Principal Hargrove pinched the bridge of his nose, clearly torn. "I understand your point, Maya, but this has gone beyond the classroom. We need to address it formally." Elliot felt the walls closing in. His secret wasn't a secret anymore, not at school, not in whispers, not even in the hallways. And now, Caraway wanted to drag it straight into his home. The silver pendant pressed against his chest like a weight of destiny. Seraphine's words echoed, "The only chains he can use are the ones you choose to wear." Was he ready to face his family? Or would this be the battle that broke him? Caraway leaned closer, his whisper meant only for Elliot. "By tomorrow, your parents will know everything. And then we'll see just how strong you really are." The walk home that afternoon felt heavier than any Elliot had ever taken. The whispers at school had been bad, the flyers humiliating, but this was worse. Caraway had promised to drag his secret into the one place he wasn't ready for, his home. Maya walked beside him, her voice steady. "You don't have to face this alone. If he calls your parents, I'll come over. I'll tell them what really happened." Elliot shook his head. "It won't matter. They won't understand." The closer he got to his front door, the smaller he felt. The pendant pressed against his chest, reminding him of Seraphine's words, but tonight, even courage felt fragile. Inside, the house was quiet. His mom was at the kitchen table, sorting through mail. She looked up, her brow furrowed. "Elliot, we need to talk." His chest tightened. Caraway already called. She held up an envelope. Not a letter, but a flyer, one of the photocopied pictures. "This was in our mailbox." Elliot froze. His worst fear had arrived before he even stepped through the door. His father entered then, voice sharp. "Is this some kind of joke? You running around in dresses?" Elliot's lips trembled. He wanted to explain, to shout that it wasn't a joke, that it was the most honest thing he'd ever done. But the words tangled in his throat. It's me," he whispered finally. "It's who I am." His father's face hardened. "No son of mine. Stop." His mother's voice cut through the air, sharper than he'd ever heard. Both Elliot and his father turned to her in shock. She set the flyer down slowly, her eyes never leaving Elliot. They weren't angry, not exactly. They were searching, weighing, trying to understand. Elliot, is this what makes you happy? Is this who you want to be? Tears blurred his vision. Yes. The room held its breath. His father muttered under his breath, but his mother silenced him with a look. She turned back to Elliot, softer now. Then you're still my child. Nothing changes that. Elliot's knees buckled with relief. For the first time all day, he let himself cry. His mother pulled him close, her hand cradling the back of his head. But over her shoulder, Elliot caught his father's glare hard, cold, unyielding. The war wasn't over. Not here. Not yet. That night, Elliot sat by his window, staring at the stars. Maya texted, "Did it happen? Are you okay?" He typed back, "Not okay, but not broken." Below, in the yard, the shadows stirred. A tall figure stood by the fence, notebook in hand. Caraway, watching. He wasn't finished, not by a long shot. Morning light spilled across Elliot's room, but it felt more like a spotlight than comfort. His eyes were swollen from crying, the silver pendant still pressed against his chest like a lifeline. Downstairs, raised voices clashed. His father's fury, his mother's defiance. "She's confused," his father barked. "We're letting this get out of hand." "She's not confused," his mother snapped back. "She's telling us who she is. You just don't want to hear it." Elliot froze at the word. She. His mother had said it without hesitation. His heart ached with something he hadn't felt in so long, validation. But his father's voice was stone. No, not in this house. School was no safer. The flyers had been torn down, but the whispers lingered. Some students smiled at him with quiet respect. Others muttered insults as he passed. It was like walking a tightrope between two worlds. Maya stood guard at his side, her chin high. "Let them talk," she whispered. Every whisper just proves they're scared of someone braver than them. But bravery didn't stop the gnawing fear inside. Especially when Elliot noticed Caraway watching him from the teacher's lounge window, scribbling in that cursed black notebook.